Welcome back to another episode of Let's Have a Sip. I am your host, Sean Drinks, and today's guest is Nick Bagley. How you going? How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little hungover. Had a little bit too much fun last night, but I'm good. I'm good,
I,
man.
I don't miss hangovers.
No, I don't nor like it's funny. My whole Instagram is like just straight whiskey and stuff like that. And like one of the first things my mom told me was like, or asked me rather, was like, "Are you a flipping alcoholic?" And I'm like, "No, no, I'm not. I just enjoy whiskey." So, um, but yeah, man. So go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
I am a bodybuilding coach and personal trainer. I work at Destination Dallas. I live in Texas. I've been here for the last almost 3 years.
Yeah, so I've always heard about Destination Dallas, and I always thought it was a super dope gym because the gym that I would go to was in Cleveland, Tennessee. Shout out to the Grid House. Very similar vibes. And once I walked into Destination Dallas, I was like, this is the spot. Like, if you're not going to this gym and you live in this area, you are screwing up 100%. So, yeah, man. So, what actually drew you to come to Texas, and what drew you to go to Destination Dallas?
So there's two parts to that story there. So that's the first me coming to Texas. Um, like I said, I've been here for 3 years now. I was born and raised in North Carolina and lived there for the strong majority of my life. I went through a bad breakup in January of 2019 and was kind of at a crossroads. I had been talking about leaving North Carolina and just wanting to get away. And the girl that I was with at the time very vehemently was against it. She didn't want to leave her family and she didn't want me to leave the good job that I had because I made good money, I had good insurance, I had good health care, but I was miserable. I hated going to work. It was good pay. I didn't have to work super long days. I was up early and I was done middle of the day. Um, so all in all, it was a good job. It was a great company. They took good care of me. It's the most money I'd made until the last few years, but I just wasn't happy. I was miserable going to work. I was miserable coming home. I made up every excuse I could not to come home because I didn't want to deal with her. And then we finally broke up one day after a car accident. So I messed up my shoulder in a car accident, and then the very next day, her and I broke up. I already had a plan to come out to Dallas to see my boy Mike. He's one of my best friends from college, and I hadn't seen him in a while. He moved out here to be with his now fiance, and I came out. I visited. Uh, it was that time in my life where I just needed to get away, needed to do something, needed to get my mind off stuff. So I came out here. We drank like crazy and had a good time. And we went to a place in downtown Dallas or uptown, whichever one. But it's called Happiest Hour, and I was out on the balcony area and kind of looking out into the city, and I just got this strong feeling come over me that this is where I needed to be, and just had this weird gut feeling. Um, I had already been telling my parents I was going to move, and originally it was to move to Florida, but after that trip, it was like, nah, I need to be in Texas. I couldn't tell you why. There was no real reason. It was just this overwhelming sense of this was it. So I finally made that decision that I wanted to move, and I told Mike, like, yo, I'm coming back out in July, and I'm going to look at spots. And I had told him before that I was moving and different things, and I told a lot of people. There was like 4 or 5 other times where I was supposed to move from North Carolina, like in the years leading up to this. So he didn't believe me. He was like, "Cool, man, just let me know." And then I told him sometime that summer, like June, July, something like that. I was like, "Hey, dude, I booked a flight. I'm coming out. I'm going to look at apartments." He's like, "Oh, okay, you're serious." So I signed a lease in that 3 or 4 days I was there. I don't remember how long it was. Um, Signed the lease, and then my lease in North Carolina didn't run up until August, so I still had a few months to hang out in North Carolina. Once I finally got out here, I knew that I was going down the personal training route. I'd already gotten my NASM certification. It's kind of your foot in the door. You got to have a nationally accredited certification to be a personal trainer. I have the NASM and I have my 4 year degree at the time. And when I got here, I didn't have a job, and there had been some stuff that was supposed to line up, and that's a whole nother story. But that ended up falling through, so I got out here with no job and was living off of savings. I managed, like, you can get a job as a personal trainer anywhere. Like if you go to LA Fitness, like I was a god when I walked in that door because I had the NASA man. I had my 4-year degree, so they were like begging me to come on immediately. But I quickly found out that that place sucks and that LA Fitness doesn't take care of any of its people other than its salesmen, and their salesmen are sleazebags. So I worked there for maybe 4 months. Um,
I totally agree with you. So I had a very short stint where I worked at LA Fitness for like 2 months, and I was like,
Place is
dude,
garbage.
I'm getting out of here. So
It's a dumpster fire. I mean, it's
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Um, I had by the time I left, and it was only like 3 or 4 months in, I had like 30, 35 clients, and my biggest paycheck was like $400. So, I mean, look at that now. I mean, I make 6 figures as a personal trainer, and I have like 10 people in person. So you can look at those numbers there and go, there's a big problem here. So in that time, I was eating through savings, and my buddy was like, "Hey, you used to bounce. I've got a connection over here. You can go be a bouncer." So I started bouncing at a popular nightclub in Dallas and made a lot of money that way. So I was still able to pay my bills. And the big thing about that job is that it connected me with a good buddy of mine um, that got me hooked up at Equinox out in Dallas. And for those who don't know what Equinox is, it's like bougie white person heaven. You're gonna find like the richest of the rich at Equinox. I mean, what's his name? Mark Cuban's wife worked out there. If that kind of gives you an idea of the type of clientele we had. I mean, I was talking hedge fund managers that had ridiculous amounts of money that like they wouldn't even know what to do with it if they tried. Uh, and it was super easy for me to pick up clients there. Like me just being a little bit bigger, and having a different style than the other trainers was a big draw. And then I'm very much a go with the flow kind of person. And I'm very organic in the way that I pick people up. And I was able to surpass the class before me of new trainers in about 2 months, and was a few set of people, like one, maybe two clients away from being a full-time trainer there. So I don't remember exactly how many hours of training sessions a week it was, but there was like a threshold of like if you once you get to this number, you graduate to full-time trainer, and then you don't have to do the extra stuff here and there. And I was one or two people away from that, and then good old COVID hit. So that's where we shift into part two of this story. So right before like as COVID is starting to ramp up, um, and where everybody's freaking out about what's going to happen, what the world's going to shut down and whatnot. I got the news that my son was going to be that we were going to have a kid, and so things started to shift pretty quickly. And it was like, okay, I need to start making money. I need to figure this out. And then COVID happened, so kind of everything shut down, and there wasn't really a choice. I was very fortunate that Equinox paid us through that entire time. They paid us a percentage of what we were making of an average of whatever fucking month it was that they chose. Luckily, I did pretty well that month, so I was still getting a paycheck that was halfway decent. And then everything was shut down for a while, and then we got the release to once things started open. This is a big flash forward, like that time period, everything was shut down. I mean, there was nothing happening. I was a miserable shit. I got fat. I was playing a lot of video games. I even drank during that time a lot, and like I don't really drink. Um, uh, Everything starts to open back up. I go back to bouncing first because the gym hadn't opened yet, and obviously everybody's been pent up in their house. They're wanting to go get like some energy out, go do something fun. So of course you hear a bar is open. Everybody and their mother wants to show up. So we were making like a lot of money in cash under the table, just people trying to get in the door. And it was a substantial amount of money to be able to keep myself afloat for a long time. And then Equinox opened back up. So I go back to work there. And me and one of the managers started to butt heads really hard. So this kind of comes back to what I said in the beginning, where I'm a very organic, go with the flow person. I'm not a salesman. I can sell the hell out of myself, but I'm never going to hunt someone down for training. Never, ever, never. I don't care. If you don't want to work with me, I don't want to work with you. So there has to be a give and take here. If you show interest, I will for sure try to sell you. But if you're showing zero interest whatsoever, all it's going to do is make me look like a dick if I'm trying to chase you down. So her and I started butting heads really hard because I was just doing me. I was doing my normal organic thing, but the only people there were to choose from were either clients that already had trainers and that had been with that trainer forever, or the people who, like, when the building was built, they showed up with the building, right? So they'd been there since day one. They'd seen a million trainers come and go, and they maybe have worked with one, or else they just kind of brushed them off and never worked with anyone because they know better. Um, so me and her started butting heads extremely hard, like to the point where I was speaking to upper management about her, because she was like down my throat 24/7 all day at work, never letting go. And it just started to really irritate the hell out of me. Christina and I spoke a lot about like what the future was going to be because I was miserable that she made the job miserable. And I just hated going there. Everybody's telling me just to ignore her and just let her leave me alone. She'll eventually move on. But if for those who actually know me, who might be watching this, you know that I don't let things go. So I can't just, if somebody's coming after me like that, I'm not just gonna let you run me over. I'm going to run you over first. So that's what we did. We butted heads until I finally told Equinox that I was gone. Me and the regional manager of the gym had a like an hour and a half discussion about how she was handling herself, how things were being handled, and he was doing his best to try to keep me there. And it just wasn't going to happen. I kind of already made my decision, and that's when I went to Destination, said, "Hey, I want to be a trainer here," and the rest is kind of history from there. I had two people. I had one guy follow me from Equinox, and then I had another new client sign up, and that gave me enough money to kind of get rolling to where I could fully just be there and give away as much free stuff as I possibly could. So
Well,
that's how I ended up at Destination.
awesome, man. Yeah. So what, like, I know you got a lot of, you got a lot of professional athletes that are coming in there, whether it be like bodybuilding or I think the last time I was in there, which was a long time ago, because I am a fat ass and have not been in the gym in a while. But you got a lot of like NFL players coming in there and just people from all walks of life. So that place is super dope.
Yep.
So what is it like? Going in there daily because I'm pretty sure you're in there like what 5-6 days a week or something. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I work
um,
Monday to Friday
okay, so like,
or
what is it
Monday to
like?
Saturday.
So like, what is it like walking in there and having Branch Warren and Keon and whoever else may be coming through, like Hunter Labrada? What is it like going into the gym and being able to, because I've seen you work out with Hunter before, and like, what is it like being in that atmosphere with them?
My answer might surprise you, but there's two parts to that answer. I would say the first part is it's a privilege to be able to speak to these people who work at such a high level and do their sport at such a high level. It's cool. I mean, you get to rub elbows with some of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet. I mean, like you said, Branch Warren. I mean, I get to hang out with a bodybuilding legend Monday to Friday. He knows my name. He asks me how I'm doing. I mean, it's a cool privilege, but like. Um, Being around these people on a regular basis, to be completely honest, they're no different than you or I. And that's where the normal person is like, we put these people up on a pedestal, right? Because we look up to them and we see their highlight reel because we all have a highlight reel. It's called Instagram. Nobody really puts up the bad stuff, myself included, because who wants to see the bad, right? Like no, none of us want to focus on the bad, so that's why we don't put it out there. And I think sometimes we want to make ourselves look cooler than we are. So hey, look, we never have bad days. But when all you see is a highlight reel of these people, you start to get this idea that they are other, they are different than you, they are better than you. Whatever you want to call it, but it's not the case. The only difference between these high level athletes and just your normal everyday person is the dedication that they have to one specific thing, right? And they have fully dedicated their lives to. You mentioned NFL, so we have a lot of NFL offensive linemen, specifically offensive linemen. So they dedicate themselves to offensive line. And then we have, like you said, Hunter Labrada, who is focused on being the best bodybuilder in the world. So his day is focused on bodybuilding. Every day, everything he does, every time he takes a breath, it is focused on bodybuilding. So all it really is yes, genetics play a role in every sport. Like I think every single athlete that is at a super high level has a predisposition to be genetically gifted at whatever it is that they're doing. But at the same time, they work their asses off. So they're putting in daily effort specifically towards something. Like specificity is the thing here. So it's been a very illuminating thing where it's kind of broken down a lot of walls for me of the same thing of like when I look up to people, I have to remember that that person is still a person. They're still a human. They still have the same. They still have flaws. They still have the same hopes and desires and fears and whatever you want to call it as I do. So I try to just look at them that way. I try not to like get like, oh, it's brand like we all have our moments where like, wow, this is really cool. And like looking in hindsight, I can say that to about a lot of situations I've been in. But at the same time, like those people that we do idolize, that we do look at on Instagram, and that we do look up to, they're used to somebody treating them like other. They're used to someone treating them like better than, or you are their idol, or you are this, or you are that. But like what they want is just to be treated like you or I. They want to be treated like every single other person. They want to be like talked to like a normal person. They want to be treated that way. So like that's what I've done with everybody. Like I could be sitting here taking pictures with all these guys all the time and be like, oh, look who I'm hanging out with. Look who I'm hanging out with. But then they wouldn't want to hang out with me, right? They wouldn't want to get to know me. They wouldn't want me around, right? And if I'm going to ultimately learn from these people, I need more than one interaction. We need to be able to speak together for a longer period of time. So I want them to like me. So I treat them like I would any other person. So it's been a very illuminating thing in that regards, kind of broken down that wall of like, celebrity versus normal person kind of
Yeah, yeah, I get that. It's I realized what I was asking you, and then whenever you answered it, I was like, I probably should have worded that a little bit differently. But like,
thing.
it was more of a like because you said it was a privilege to be able to be around them, just because they're on such a high level. So yeah, no, you kind of that was a good answer. I
Yeah,
like that.
I can expand on that more. I mean, it comes back to that whole thing of like if you're hanging around five intelligent people, you're going to be the sixth. If you're hanging around five complete morons, you're going to be the sixth. If I'm hanging around 5, 10, 15 of the best athletes on the planet, I mean, I know what my limits are, but I can also learn from those people. I can better myself. I can get better in my own training, but I can also get better in my coaching, which is the thing that I know I will be elite at. So we all you learn. Success leaves clues. That's the saying that I've heard. I have no idea where that phrase came from, but success leaves clues. So I try to find all of these high level performing people that I can, and try to find the little tidbit that I can learn from. Right. So like, can I play football? Not at all. Do not throw a ball at me. Don't ask me to run a route. Don't ask me to do any of that stuff because I will break everything and the football will hit me in the face. But I can still learn from those guys and how they act, how they handle themselves, like how they're training themselves. How do they make themselves better that way? What stuff from their training can I carry over to my training? What stuff can I use for my clients? Like there's always things that you can pick and choose from. Um, so I try to learn from as many people with as many different perspectives as I possibly can, because there's always going to be something that like maybe at the time it didn't really have a big impact on you, maybe you didn't really think it was going to be a big deal, but then you come across this scenario down the road where it's like, oh hey, look, I know this thing because I talked to this guy over here. So it's a matter of like the privilege that I speak of is like I feel privileged because I've been able to boost myself so much in my own coaching and my own understanding of training by being around these guys for the last almost 3 years or almost 2 years. I've only been at Destination for about two.
Seems like longer. I don't know why. I feel like time's flying, but
Yeah, I understand.
yeah, because me and my girl were talking the other day about like when we first met, and we're like, man, that was like almost 4 years ago. And I'm just like,
Yep.
Holy
It
shit!
flies,
So,
man. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, my son will be 2 in like about 4 months, which is ridiculous.
So
Feels like he just got here not that long ago.
So, so what's life like? And I know you're not like competing all the time. I may be wrong. I don't really understand how all that stuff works, but what's life like balancing like competing and then being with your family, taking care of your kid and all that.
I can only speak to that so much because I I finished my last prep before my son was born. So he came. Let's see. Wait, was I don't remember. It's been, my brain is just so cluttered. But so he was really young when I was competing and stuff. So I didn't really have to deal with that. No, I did. That's what it is. That's what I'm confusing. I did a photo shoot prep, and that was right before he came. And then I did prep while he was here, but he was still pretty young. And then Lily and Isla. So it was a little bit different. So we have 3 kids. So we've got Lily, Isla, and then my son Everett. Um, and so it was a little bit different dealing with like the kids have snacks around, So there was some stuff like that. But Christina is extremely supportive with what I do, and vice versa. I mean, I'm very supportive of what she's doing. She's in nursing school right now. So at that time, she wasn't in nursing school, so I relied on her a lot. To be completely honest, she did a lot of cooking for me. Still does a lot of stuff for the kids because I like have to be at the gym for work and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, mostly as far as figuring that stuff out, it was a matter of like stopping. Like I can't give my son a snack and then have a little bit of it, right? So like you can't just grab those little things. So that was a new challenge because like I didn't have snacks around before when I would prep. Um, but anytime you prep, regardless of whether you have kids or not, there's going to be stuff that you have to balance. And um, really, what you're trying to balance is everything outside of what you need to do for prep, right? Because if you're going to prep for a show, there needs to be a hard shift in focus, and it should be solely focused on that show and that specific thing. So you become very selfish, you become very self-centered, and it's about you for that 12, 16, 20, whatever weeks it is that you're prepping. And the closer you get to that show, the more it becomes about you because your sole focus is on that and bringing your best if you're actually trying to do the thing hard. So trying to balance those things, like, yeah, it definitely comes with its difficulties and whatnot, but Christina made it a lot easier that way. And I was able to really rely on her during that time. And I had to do a lot of making up for me being a dickhead. But she just like I relied on her a lot. So it was yes, it was more difficult in certain ways, but yes, it was also easier in certain ways because I fortunately didn't have to do as much cooking anymore. I didn't have to do like laundry. I didn't have to clean the house. Like those little things were taken care of. So that
Jealous.
part, huh?
I said jealous.
I mean, I help with as much as I can around the house, but she definitely takes the full bulk, like a much bigger portion of that. But when there's someone else around the house to keep those little things in order, it took some of that off my plate, so I could be a little bit more focused on myself. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was mostly just like trying to remember to be present when I was with my son or the girls or anything like that. Um, Trying to like shut my brain off when I needed it to and be there when I needed to be. Like that's the hardest part is just trying to find that balance there because again your brain is elsewhere. You're thinking about okay, I got to do cardio later. I still got to eat this meal. I still got to do X, Y, and Z. So there's always a focus on me. So trying to remember to shift outside of me was the big thing that changed from like single Nick to not single Nick with kids.
Yeah, I feel that. So the reason I was asking that is because back whenever this is gonna kind of sound like back in my day when I was in high school and played football, I could throw a football over the mountains like Uncle Rico. Whenever I was heavily into working out, I had no aspirations of competing, nothing, but I was always very interested in being surrounded by that culture. Now I had a very hard time balancing my relationship and then the gym because I was a selfish motherfucker when it came to working out. I was like, look, I'm going to work out. You can come with me or not. Like it was bad. I was pretty much a dick. So as I've gotten older, I've definitely learned how to like balance my life a lot more, not just with like working out, which because I don't really do that too much right now, but just everything in general. And I feel like my girlfriend now, love her to death. She is grounded me quite a bit, and she's a G. So it's good that you have a good support system like you do.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, like in the future, whenever you do decide to compete again, y'all can kind of keep that routine going. Y'all got some good shit going on. So,
Oh yeah,
but
she's been
yeah,
amazing as far as that stuff is concerned. And even now, I mean, we both cook a lot, but she'll do a lot of things too. Like while I'm gone to the gym, if she's got some time, she'll throw some rice in the cooker, or she'll throw chicken on the grill. There was many times where I was like, I'm gonna come home today and cut the grass, and then show up to the house, and she had already cut the grass. I'm like, okay, cool. So it's like she's not afraid of like working and stuff herself. Which is a hard contrast from my last relationship where it was like she just wanted to be at home doing whatever she wanted to all day. So it's been a really cool thing for both of us to be able to help each other. Like I said, right now, I mean, I'm not competing and I'm not focused on any shows anytime soon. I had hernia surgery probably 5 months ago. So trying to come back from that, like there's still some aesthetic, like as far as recovery, like muscle wise, like they're good to go. Like I can full send train now, but aesthetically, there's still some swelling and stuff there. So trying to get on stage right now wouldn't go well. There's some still some trauma and scar tissue in my abdomen. So trying to get on a stage would not be good right now. I'm really focused on the coaching and the personal training stuff. And then when I get home after work and working out and stuff, I'm here to help with whatever Christina needs with the kids or grilling chicken or the dogs or whatever it may be. Um, Trying to help her as much as possible because nursing school is difficult and it's a big load on her during the day. So like trying to make sure that she doesn't feel like she has to take everything on. Right.
all right. So you were talking about food. I fucking love food. Ever since I got to Dallas, my girlfriend and I are going to like different spots every weekend, trying different food, blah blah blah. So you're on a strict diet. I'm sure you're enjoying life. I know you probably are every once in a while. Hands down, favorite cheat meal. What would that be?
I'm pretty boring, man. I mean, burger and fries. As I've gotten like more clean with my diet, more focused on that kind of stuff, my gut has told me that it doesn't like other things. So I'm pretty sensitive, and so is Christina. We both have a she's light years beyond me as far as how sensitive her stomach is. She like looks at the wrong food and she breaks out in a rash. So like I don't have that fortunately, but we're both very kind of um, like I know what my stomach will agree with and what it won't. So typically like a burger and fries or Chick-fil-A. Yeah, Chick-fil-A will be a good go-to.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm usually like, shit. I've had a cheat meal every day for the last 8 months, so I couldn't really tell you what my favorite cheat meal is. But fucking, there's a spot up here in Dallas. It's right by oh shoot, where is it at? It's on SMU Boulevard. It's called Oishi. It's a sushi joint.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
my,
sushi.
oh my god, dude! Hands down, this is a bold statement, and you can kill me if you want, whoever's listening. But Oishi in Dallas, hands down, best sushi I've ever had in my life. So good.
I definitely like sushi. It's just so expensive for me to try and eat what I want over there because it's like if I'm gonna get enough protein, I've got to order enough meals and then or enough rolls, and then by the time I have enough rolls, like I get halfway through them, and I'm like I'm gonna die. Um, it's so much rice. Sashimi is really good, but I mean sushi's just too clean. If I'm gonna have something, I want like a little bit of not cleanness. So I mean, if I can pick any burger spot, I'd go Rodeo Goat. I don't know if you've been there yet, but
I've
that
I've
place,
I've seen it, but I've never been. I think my girl actually went there the other day. You know what's
you
funny
got you
is
got to.
she brought back I think she brought back a hamburger from there or a cheeseburger or something, and I tried it and it was pretty good. It was cold, but it
Yeah,
was so good. I need to go actually try that place.
yeah. Oh yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I mean it's a solid recommendation. You won't go wrong there. That's for sure.
But all right, man. I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right here. I really do appreciate you hopping on here. I really appreciate what you're doing with your business. I've always been a fan of yours. I've been watching you for God knows how long. Keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, that's it.